Today, I want to give you a long-term 4-year update on this latexite color driveway sealer. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda out here on my driveway. And I think I'm about to work on my driveway. And it's really hot. And actually, that's intentional because things dry faster when it's hot. But before I do that, I thought we should talk about this driveway, which you can see looks a little spotty. But I wanted to give you my thoughts on this because I haven't touched this driveway in 4 years. That means I haven't done any crack filler. I haven't put on any additional sealant, no refresher coats in between. 4 years, 2020, almost to the day that I sealed this driveway last with this latexite sealer. Now, before I get into it, I want to let you know that I have some good news about it and some terrible, horrible news about it. All right. So let me give you the unvarnished look at what my driveway looks like. All right, it's midday here, so this is pretty good lighting for what you're going to see here. Now, some of this stuff is not really sealer relevant, right? I do have some parts here where the driveway is kind of sinking off the edge or getting erosion. It's cracking along the edge there. I don't think that really is a commentary on the sealer itself. You can see that kind of deep crack right there. But what I do want to show you here is that you can see that I used that tan colored sealer, and I liked it because it kind of matched the stone, even the concrete a little bit here. And the thing that I really loved is that it was so much cooler. Dude, when I had this in blacktop sealer, kind of the standard black asphalt sealer, when it was sunny out, dude, and you were just standing in the middle of it, it just was cooking you. And heaven knows, if you were to walk on this with bare feet or have a dog run across it, dude, it could be like 150 degrees, I bet. Anyway, the whole point of using this was that I thought it looked better, a little brighter, a little lighter. It was something different. It wasn't any harder to put on than any other sealer I've ever used, but I was always kind of curious on how it would hold up. Now, I want to show you. This is where I park my Buick Encore day in, day out for the last 4 years. And you can see where I have some tire tread marks. It's not super obvious to me, like I'm walking around, I'm like, oh man, there's tire tread marks. But I usually will back it up, kind of do a 2-point turn here to get out. And, you know, I've got some tire marks on there, but it's not that bad. I actually kind of expected it to be a little worse, but versus the black sealer, you're going to kind of not see those tire marks, right? But what you can see here is just a little bit of discoloration. So keep that in mind. Parking it, driving it every day, 4 years, that's what that looks like. Now, obviously, we are getting some areas here where it is coming up, okay? So here's a good example, and what you might be able to see is, I don't know, it's not even a millimeter thick. So this stuff doesn't go on that thick. I did 2 coats of it, as I recall, because when I put it on, it was just a little bit thin, and you could see the old blacktop kind of peeking through it a little bit. Just a little bit of black, kind of like discoloring it, giving it not a uniform look. So when I put on that second coat, it actually hid all of that and looked very uniform. You can actually see where I have a streak there from kind of squeegeeing it on, all right? But that is not very thick, and it's not that bad coming up. So all of this I'm actually really impressed with, because even though you might say, Pete, there's a lot of spots here. I want to make something very clear. In the winter here in the Midwest, the Chicago area, they can be pretty brutal. And because I've had a lot of stuff going on, I went from snow blowing with a self-propelled single-stage snowblower. So it has the auger, that's rubber, that goes all the way down to the concrete or the surface. So that's going to kind of scrape the top of the surface here. But in the last couple years, I have gone ahead and outsourced this to a snow plowing company because I just haven't had time. You know, you get up early, you try to snow plow, you try to get to work or whatever. And I just was running out of time, especially when we were getting heavy snow. And when I would pull my cars out and drive over the snow, it would compact it and create ice that was really packed down on here. So you get those ridges of ice on the driveway, which never come up. You need like a pickaxe to get them off. And so just to prevent all of that and kind of stop doing that year after year, I hired a snowplow company. And what they do is they come in at like 2 a.m. and they just do a couple quick passes here, and they scrape everything off to the side, and they take up chunks of the driveway with it too, which is why I think it's actually a little flatter in some of these areas, because they've knocked down some of these high spots. But a lot of this right here, this is probably the worst of it, is just some age and the asphalt cracking and deteriorating. But also, where there were maybe just little high spots where that snowplow just scraped along there and picked up some of this. So that's when I noticed it most, in the spring after the snow melts, I would see all sorts of new little bare spots there, right? Because there's rocks in the asphalt. They're just little high spots, low spots. So part of this, and a large part of this, I will blame towards snow plowing. Now, if you use a two-stage snowblower, which I have in the past, the auger doesn't actually get all the way down to the surface. And so you actually have a little bit of snow that kind of stays there. And that's actually okay and fine. But I bet this would have actually looked better if I had plowed these last 4 years with a snowblower that was a two-stage snowblower. Okay, so, and here's probably the second worst part, maybe the worst part, but obviously you can see that peeking through there. So if you were to just to look at this driveway, I don't know that people would drive in and be like, oh man, this looks atrocious. But if it were all black, and because I had black underneath, it would probably hide that a little bit better. But if I had used the colored Sealcoat for years, right, 3 or 4 coats of it over the years, when they got rid of that top layer, there would probably still be a little bit of that like sand colored sealer underneath it, so hiding that a little bit better. But I will say overall I'm just really impressed, because you can see here this is 2 coats lifetime wise. It's not very thick, and it has stayed on there really well and held up to traffic and has been way cooler in the summer. Even right now, it's probably about 87 degrees out here. It's going to get up to like 93 pretty soon. And I can be on this driveway without it feeling super hot, which I can't do when I seal coat it black. Now, here's the bad, horrible, no good, terrible, almost depressing news. The company that I got this from, Latex, still in business. I picked up some of their products even recently, but they stopped making this colored Sealcoat. And my guess is because it's expensive. When you buy a 5-gallon bucket of your just normal blacktop sealer, I don't know what it costs, $18, $20, $25 maybe. And I think this stuff was like $58, $60. So it's 3 times as expensive, but I thought it's worth it, for the look, and you can apply it yourself and it's not that hard. And, even if it maybe costs you a couple $100 to seal coat your driveway, $400 or $500 is kind of a nice upgrade. And they actually had it in different colors. I think a light gray, like a tennis court red, and then the sandstone, and I don't know, green maybe or something like that. But now they don't seem to sell any of them. And I've had some people make some comments that they saw my original video and said, they don't make it anymore. And I was a little surprised. I thought, well, maybe it's just not available at Home Depot where I got it the last time. But in their website, I can't see it or find it anywhere. So that is disappointing. Now, I will say this. There might be a little good news, is that I did find another company called like Seal Master maybe or something like that, that does make colored seal coats still. So they also have like sandstone, light gray, and even actually more colors. I don't know what the price is on them. I am going to reseal coat this, but I'm just going to do a black because that's what they had. But I was trying to rebuy this because now I don't think I need to do more than 1 or 2 coats, but it just wasn't available. Instead of mail ordering it from a place where I don't know when it's going to arrive, and I wanted to do it this week because it's nice and hot, so I know it'll cure out there. That's the no good news, is that if you want to do this, you might have to actually use a different company. So, am I super happy with it? Yeah, I am. Does this look great? No, but keep in mind, harsh conditions, harsh maintenance, 4 years, and so I am actually really impressed with this. And it's a little frustrating to be singing the praises here on a product that I don't know if you can buy anymore, but man, I wish you could, because I am really impressed with this and it looked great. So, hey, if you want to pick up colored Sealcoat, I would highly recommend it. I wish more people would do it. If more people do it, maybe the price comes down to the point where it's the exact same price as the blacktop sealers. But until then, I can understand why some people shy away from a little bit. But come on, Home Depot and Lowe's and all you big companies, put out those other colored seal coats out there so more of us will discover and use it, and then maybe get the prices down so that a colored seal coat is the same as any other cheap seal coat that you can buy. So that is my 4-year long-term update with this. If you want to pick up the stuff that I found from this other company, I'll put a link to it in the description below. Peter Von Panda, out.